Hello everyone. So today in this video, I want to talk about transition screens and comments that you enter. So imagine that you have a workflow in Jira where you want to capture or take approvals, right? Let us talk about approvals because that is where this will make sense. Now the thing is, whenever you're talking about approvals, you of course want people, like some people or few people, more than one people in your Jira instance. You want them to do something, right? Maybe they will approve, or maybe they will reject, maybe they will um, give their feedback. So whenever we talk about some process where certain people are doing something in the workflow, you may want to capture their input or maybe their feedback. Now the thing is, in Jira, when you create a uh, new status in your workflow, which is basically in a path. Let us say if you look at this workflow, you may want to send this for approval, and then you may want to start the work on it. So basically, in between, whenever you are going from one state to another state, you may want to capture, let us say, a comment from your approver or someone who will be giving you some feedback, right? Now, this can be done, of course, using a transition screen. And transition screens are great because when you have a transition screen, you can capture that comment only when it is required. Now, comment in Jira is, of course, wonderful. Now, whenever you capture a comment from the user or any user basically who has access to comment on the issue, they will, of course, add a comment on a transition screen, and that comment will be added here, right, in your comment section. Now, you may want to replace comment with your own text area or multi-line text field, right? Because maybe you have three people, three different roles who are going to approve, and you may want to capture their feedback separately, right? So you may be tempted to create three different fields for three different text area fields for those different users or different roles. It could be something like PM approval notes, or maybe PM project manager feedback. The second field could be your group project manager feedback, something like that. So you can definitely have a separate field for capturing that feedback so that you can look at it somewhere nicely. Problem with this approach is, and again, I'm not really saying you should use a comment or a field. I'm just trying to share. So problem with this approach where you have like a text area field to capture some feedback is that you will find it difficult to update the same field again in future. What if in your workflow you are rejecting the ticket or any issue that you're working on? It goes through rejection path, and then while rejecting, you may want to capture the comment from your project manager. So if you have a field, just one field called PM notes, PM feedback, PM evaluation, then they can of course give their rejection reason, and this will go to rejected state. Now you may want to approve it again. It may come back for another round of approval, and in that case, if they have to reject it again, if they have to approve it again, whatever, they can of course in a way add their new feedback to the previously saved feedback on the same field. This will work perfectly fine, but you can imagine it is a bit difficult because you need to make sure that the person who is giving their feedback, they don't really get rid of the previous comment or previous feedback. So this, and again, when they update the same field, you don't really have a way to easily figure out, unless you go to the history, to figure out when they added this additional feedback, because it is just the same field that you're asking the user to update over and over again. Now, I prefer comment. Now imagine you have a transition screen. For it could be for approval, it could be for rejection. Just use the normal comment field in Jira, because when you have the normal comment field in Jira, when the user is commenting, like of course, this comment can come directly by going to the issue, or it can come, I'm rejecting this. Basically, if the user, imagine I'm adding this comment through a transition screen. So when anyone is adding a comment, we of course know that who added this comment, and this comment is just unique one comment. So if they approve it, if they reject it, you can see here that, okay, I have started the work, or I'm rejecting it, I'm approving it, and you can see who did this approval or rejection, or whatever you're trying to do. For example, if you start the work on this particular issue, you can say that, okay, I have now started the work. And also, whenever we talk about comments, you can of course tag people. I don't think you can tag people on Jira Data Center text, multi-line text field. I think you can do that on Jira Cloud, but not really on Jira Data Center. I think I did talk about it, maybe not, but that is also another advantage. And whenever we talk about comments of course can have its own visibility, which is again great. And when you add a comment, you can see that the comment is of course added to your comment manager. You can see this very easily. And of course, when you talk about the activity or the history, you can see like anything anyways, because the history will show you this. Now compare this history with the history of your normal updates to a field. You can see here that the transitions are actually displayed nicely. So whenever you are actually adding a comment, you are of course looking at not the comment but the actual status change. And you can of course in a way when you have the dates here, in a way you can see that, oh, okay, I got this comment from this user on this date and they have rejected it. So again, it is not perfect, but at the same time it is slightly better when you're using comments, because comments, each and every comment that you had here, you can have like a unique link to it, and that will take the user to that particular comment added by that user on a particular date, maybe for a specific transition. You have like a bit more visibility. Now, I know that by looking at the comments, you can't really easily filter out what was the feedback from your project manager, or maybe from your your Scrum Master, right? Whoever is approving your tickets or issues in series, right? Now, what you can also think of doing, which I have done, in fact, I've done that quite a lot. Let the user fill in their feedback on a text area field, but whatever they are adding there, maybe add the same value back to the comment, right? So that can also be done. That is also a possibility. And in that case, I know you will end up having the same comment added, or I should say the same field value added as a comment, but just trying to share. What I've also done, which I don't really think works really nicely, you can actually just capture the comment here, and whatever the comment you're capturing during that transition, it could be approval or rejection, have like a read-only field, not really a read-only field, but a normal text area field, and update only the rejection notes, or basically the comments added by those approvers during that transition, and maybe have a timestamp. So it can be done. I know it may be a bit too much, but I know when I work with my stakeholders, sometimes they ask for these automations, these extreme customizations, because that is what they need to do in Jira. Of course, I always prefer to keep things simple, wherever applicable, wherever possible, but it is not always possible, and I'm just trying to share. So just think about how you want to capture the feedback from your approvers when they either reject or approve. It could be using a field, a text area field. It could be using a comment. And my preference would be to always use comments, because of all the advantages which I just talked about. But at the same time, think about the use case. Think about what will work for your process and for your team. All right, that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.